Chapter 451 A Dying Blow. Unlike Hawkeye and Zoro, who looked leisurely, Yuxi Tianyuan in the battlefield, and 4 people from Tanjiro, after successfully cutting off the heads of Fulheim and Proud Taro, all collapsed to the ground powerlessly. Tanjiro Zaoman was directly trapped in a state of losing his 5 senses. Because I just forced the stripes to open, it has caused his physical strength to be seriously overdrawn. Now sitting on the ground, even if you blink your eyes, it's gone long ago. And the situation of Yuxi Tianyuan, it's not much better than him. The left eye was cut blinded by the attack of the prostitute Taro, and the left arm, which was also cut off. Until now, blood is still flowing outward. Only. Yuxi Tianyuan just breathed a sigh of relief. Then again, capturing a new round of crisis has arrived. The expression on his face instantly became extremely terrified. At the same time, he shouted at Tanjiro, who was shaking, desired, in the distance. Escape quickly, it's not over yet. And almost as Yuxi Tianyuan finished speaking, the headless body of the prostitute Taro, who had fallen on the ground, it was actually heading in all directions, released a circle of extremely violent and fishy blood sickles. Rumble. Rumble. A terrifying explosion instantly covered the entire area. Houses on the street, ground, and those hiding inside the house, all of them were affected, teared into pieces by the endless blood sickle. Until a moment later, the streets shrouded by moonlight. It was only then that I fell into silence again. And the street at this time. But it has long been transformed into ruins. This isn't it said that you can kill these ghosts just by cutting off your neck. But before they die, they can actually release this terrifying power. Zoro on the roof in the distance saw the street that turned into ruins in an instant. The expression on his face suddenly changed. It has a bit of fear. Because in his opinion, Taro, a prostitute, is easy to deal with. Zero. But who would think? After this guy's neck was cut off, it can also release such a terrifying large-scale attack. This is simply unpredictable. Let me ask, who will remain cautious after victory? But it only takes such a brief slackness. In such an attack, he died directly. This is also why His Majesty Yu specifically reminded us not to underestimate the enemy before we set off. Hawkeye said in a deep voice. To be honest, he really didn't expect it at all. Winning string land S2.7 prostitute Taro would use this move to die and die together. If it were him, under such an unexpected attack, maybe it may not necessarily be a death, but you will definitely be seriously injured. Because there are almost no one. It will be at that time. Notice the guy whose neck has been cut off. Even, he has a powerful sense and domineering spirit. Chapter 452 Remaining the Disaster. Now, Hawkeye for their great Emperor Yu. It is becoming more and more convincing and worshipping. This young superior. I have too many mysterious halos. And on the flower street at this moment. I don't know how long it took. When Tanjiro Takaman wakes up from his coma again. But found that. At this time, I was already lying in my sister Miduzi's arms. And in his 4 weeks. It was full of terrible ruins. Buildings on both sides of the street. All of them were hit by the dying struggle of the prostitute Taro. It was completely destroyed into ruins. It's so miserable, it's a mess around. The attack just now was so powerful, it actually destroyed the entire street. After a week of Sana Tanjiro's eyes. His face was full of shock. He reached out to cover the wound on his left shoulder. Then he turned his eyes to his sister Miduzi, who was snuggling beside him. Miduzi, just now did you save me? Thank you really. Tanjiro Zaoman, who came to his senses, suddenly thought of the only reason why he was not dismembered. I'm afraid except for my sister Miduzi. At that critical moment. Be able to extend a rescue hand to him. No one else has time. Thinking of this. On Tanjiro Kawaman's face. He showed an anxious look again. Then he struggled to stand up and go. He exclaimed loudly. By the way, what about the others? How are the others? Only. Then he stood there again. Because he found out. Although my legs are trembling now. It can't even take a step forward. But. He can still move. But logically speaking. He should be numb all over now. Besides. Why is he still alive? Because he hit the last shot. He was infected with the poison released by prostitute Taro. Not dead originally. It's already a blessing. But now. His ability to move was restored. What's going on? Tanjiro. Tanjiro, come and save me. Tanjiro Zaoman didn't have time to think carefully about the answer. Then a rumor came from a distance. Intermittent calls for help were interrupted. The source of the sound. It was revealed that 267 was from my wife, Sei. So with the help of my sister Miduzi. Carrying him on his back. Running over quickly. Just got closer. The two saw my wife, Sonyi, covered in blood. At this time, he was lying on the ground. He cried and wailed. Ah Tanjiro, I woke up and felt a sharp pain all over my body. It hurts so much. My legs are they broken? What happened? Who was beaten by? It really hurts me so much. I don't even dare to look at it once. Chapter 453 The Wild Boar Boy is going to die. My wife Shani kept wailing with tears in her nose. But judging by the momentum, it should be nothing serious. It's just a little scared. You're fine, good intentions. A look of joy appeared on Tanjiro Zaoman's face. Who are you talking about is okay? My wife, Shani, said. But I originally thought I was pitiful enough, but the situation on Inosuke's side was worse than mine. I could feel his heartbeat because I could feel it became weaker and weaker. My wife raised her hand and pointed it to the other side in kindness. The direction of Ahira Inosuke, who was thrown to the roof, said. He was there, and saw no. His feet were seriously injured at this moment. Not able to stand up at all. Walk over to check your partner's situation. So. He could only call Tanjiro Takaman. Inosuke. Inosuke, don't die, you must cheer up a little. Tanjiro Zaoman with the help of Yadoko. Running all the way quickly. Come to the front of Inosuke Yuhei. Just as my wife, Sonyi, said. Not only was the other person covered in scars. And. He was also seriously poisoned. At this moment, it is already in danger. Tanjiro Zaoman's face was full of anxiety. He stretched out his hand and pressed it on the mouth of the Tsuki. Hungarian. Start to check his heartbeat. Although I'm notorious for the time being. Can be detected. But. The other party's heartbeat was obviously beginning to become weaker and weaker. If you can't hurry up. If you eliminate these toxins on him. I'm afraid it won't take long. Inosuke will die here. However, at this time. Open black lens bracket demon killing team close black lens bracket medical team. There was no sign of any appearance at all. And it's late at night again. It's time to dawn. There is still a long time left. I can't wait to use the sun to remove the toxins. Even if you send Crow to pass it to Butterfly Ninja now information. The other party didn't have time to get here either. Only. If you let Tanjiro. Watching his friend Inosuke die before him. This is simply impossible. Damn it, why can't I do anything at such a time? Why am I the only one who survived? Everyone is going to die. Such a victory is too expensive. Tanjiro Kaoru looked full of pain. He began to complain about his incompetence, helplessness, and powerlessness. Good. But at this moment. A chubby little hand. But he leaned over from his side. Then he pressed heavily on the lunar calendar. Call. Dragon. A dark red flame burst out. He immediately directly watched Inosuke. It was all wrapped in that flame. In this dark night. It looks particularly shocking. Chapter 454 The sound pillar is about to be finished. Only. Different from normal flames. This flame. But there was no burning feeling. Instead, he would help Hinata's body. All the toxins were burned out. Even on his skin. The skin that was tortured by toxins. It gradually became a state of withering. Slowly restored to its original color. Obviously. This is Miduzi. Use her magical virus technique. Eliminate the ghosts on Inosuke's body. And those. The skin is festered by the poisonous poison. Not long. Already fell into a coma. Even at any time, there is a chance that Viola Inosuke will die. He actually regained consciousness. Then after this guy woke up. The first sentence of the opening is, "I'm so hungry, hurry up and give me something to eat." That's great, Inosuke. You're fine, it's really so good. Seeing this, Tanjiro Tanji was immediately excited and cried. His face showed a look of surviving the disaster. However, at this time, not far away, several other tragic crying sounds, ahec. But it came suddenly. No, don't die. Please don't die, Lord Tianyuan. It was obvious that I finally survived successfully, but I finally defeated those two dwindling ghosts. Don't die, don't watch you die. What exactly should I do to remove the poison of ghost? Why doesn't the antidote work at all? God, you're so cruel, too much. Must be like a child. A sad face. He started to cry and wail. And now in a ruin. The left arm was cut off. The sound pillar Yuxi Tianyuan, whose left eye was also blinded. Lifting weakly beside the ruins of a small house. Waiting for the moment when life ends. The ghost poison on the body has spread all over the body. And beside him. The young crane, the beard grinding, and the three girls. They surround him separately. Although the other two women did not wail as loudly as Zuma. But on their faces. It's already full of tears. They actually know very well. In addition to the serious injuries on Yuxi Tianyuan. What really made him deadly? It is the toxin blood sickle released by Proteus Taro. And the three women. The antidotes brought by. In front of such a fierce ghost. It doesn't work at all. No way. The toxins absorbed by the Tianyuan body of Yuxi. Regardless of the dosage. Still time. All have reached the limit that ordinary people can bear. Death seems to be a foregone conclusion. You three are quiet first, I have my last words to say. Yuxi Tianyuan seemed to be mentally prepared for this. There is no too much sadness on my face. Instead, he still maintained a dull expression. Chapter 455. The toxins were eliminated. Finally, I have a few more words to say to you three. After accumulating a certain amount of strength, Yuxi Tianyuan then spoke slowly. Life so far. Woo if Lord Tianyuan dies like this, I will never worship God again. I will never forgive you. Zuma shouted loudly with great grief and anger. Not noticed at all. She just raised it until she directly interrupted Yuxi Tianyuan's words. Stop it immediately, bastard, Lord Tianyuan is talking. Hinari turned around and shouted fiercely. You stupid woman, I don't need stones block your big shot. You two let me calm down. At this time, he also started to persuade him. And just as the three of them spoke, toxins erode rapidly. It has already made Yuxi Tianyuan unable to speak again. I can only open my right eye slightly. A face full of helplessness and reluctance. He looked at the three girls surrounding him and were arguing. This may. Is it the last time he saw three people? However, at this moment. A petite figure. But the gap came to Yuxi Tianyuan. Then the white one. Fat cute little hands. Pressed on Yuxi Tianyuan's arm. Amid the puzzled and astonished eyes of the three women. Call. Yuxi Tianyuan's body. A bright red flame suddenly ignited. In the darkness. It looks particularly weird and weird. What are you doing? Who are you? Even if you want cremation, it's too early now. Mr. Tianyuan is not dead yet, why have you started to burn? Little kid, stop quickly, I'm really angry. I'll hit you with my skin and mushrooms. The three young crane girls who came back from the shock. He immediately pulled Miduzi over. 0 katakana middle dot 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 katakana middle dot. Although in their hearts, they all know very well, Yuxi Tianyuan probably won't survive this disaster this time. But if they are allowed, watching the other party die before his eyes, this is somewhat unacceptable. At this time, Tanjiro, the sauceman, he also hurried over to explain. 0. However, just when everyone was in chaos, Yuxi Tianyuan's slightly astonished voice. But at this moment it suddenly rang. Wait a moment. This what the hell is going on? The toxins on my body all seem to have disappeared. Yuxi Tianyuan's face, and the skin eroded by toxins on the body. It has returned to its former gloss again. Even the spirit, it also got better. Seeing this scene, not to mention the three girls of Hanari were stunned. Even Yuxi Tianyuan himself. I didn't expect such a miracle to happen. Spoon. Chapter 456 Find the Head. That's right. Such a result is simply a miracle. It can only be described as a miracle. Lord Tianyuan. It's so good. I was scared to death just now. The three girls, Chuhei, Zumu, and you were stunned for a moment. Then he rushed over directly. He suddenly started to cry out in joy. March 80 inches. You can see that Yuxi Tianyuan is fine. Their original heart was so sad and angry. Then he relaxed. Sorry, I'm going to make you worry. Yuxi Tianyuan said with a warm smile on his face. At this time, Tanjiro, the sauceman, finally got the opportunity to explain. So he smiled and said, I think it should be Yadoko's vampire technique that burned all the toxins released by prostitute Taro. Although I don't quite understand the specific principles here. But the toxins on Inosuke's body just now were also removed by Yadoko. Mr. Yuxi, your injuries are very serious and have not yet recovered. Please don't move around first. And it's great to see you're fine. After Umi Tianyuan heard the statement from Tanjiro Zaoman, his eyes widened. His face was filled with incredible expressions. As a sound column. But he had never heard of it before. This kind of thing actually happened. It really makes people feel incredible. Is this kind of thing really possible? Before this I have never heard of it. I'm already a little confused now. But I see that your injuries are also quite serious. You'd better find a place to quietly wait for the medical staff to arrive. If you act like this, something unexpected might happen. Thesi can't stop yet. Tanjiro Kaoru shook his head with a firm tone when he heard this. Then continue. I'm going to find those two ghosts' heads. If I don't confirm with my own eyes that the two of them are dead, I will never be relieved. After saying that, Tanjiro Zaoman, with the help of Yadoko, he rushed towards the other side of the ruins. The winding land I encountered this time simply broke the members of the demon-killing team. Previous understanding of ghost. They are two in one. But if two ghosts cannot be killed at the same time, the other one, even if the head is cut off, still won't die. It can be said that Umi Tianyuan, Zaoman Tanjiro and others have been refreshed. 5.2 for ghost. Especially the cognition of winding ghost. So, be cautious now. It is also completely necessary. Yuxi Tianyuan knows this. So there is no reason to stop Tanjiro Sagamon's decision. But he is still worried about the other party's physical condition. Chapter 457 The Quarrel Before Death. Don't look at Miduzi's body as big as a child. But her strength. But it is still far beyond ordinary people. Petite girl. Carry your brother Tanjiro. The trot began to search among the ruins. Come. Soon. Tanjiro Kawaman relies on his sense of smell that is far beyond ordinary people. The location of my Mutaro and Duoheim were discovered. First, use a special tool for extracting blood. After helping Jushi successfully collect some blood from prostitute, Masao and Fujihi. 07 Tanjiro from the Sosman used the ninja cat left to him by the beacon. The blood was passed back. After doing this, he and Yadoko went to the prostitute Taro and the Fulheim. The two men's heads fell. However, it is different from those on Yuxi Tianyuan who are very happy. Tanjiro Zaoman has not yet gotten close. I heard it from afar. Two people were cursing and quarreling. Why are you so useless? Why are you cut off your neck by two miscellaneous soldiers? You have seen it all, why don't you come to save me? I'm fighting, Pillar, how can I have time for a clone to come and help you? So what, why don't you give him a slap at that time? Isn't it not as many things as it happened later? Do you still need to teach me this kind of thing? At that time, I clearly planned to finish it up like that. Ah. Because the little devil wearing earrings is still alive, I want to deal with him first. Besides, you obviously did nothing at that time. Why didn't you go up and make a break to that pillar? The prostitute Taro and the Fulheim who are quarreling didn't notice it at all. The Tanjiro Sosman and the two brothers and sisters have come to their front. He was watching them quarrel with amazement. However, facing the accusations of my brother, the Duoji yelled and retorted without showing any weakness. Then you can control me to finish the fight. But you did nothing. It was because of this negligence that directly led to the defeat of both of us. Are you annoying? You are at least winding yourself, and you can't even deal with just two injured soldiers. In the end you were actually cut off by them. You useless idiot. Taro, whore, seemed to be angry. He roared at the Solji fiercely. You're a fool. The fallen girl also fought back without mercy. HMPH, an ugly monster like you, how could it be my biological brother? Even if the bodies and heads of the two, it has begun to gradually collapse. But the quarrel between them still did not end. They are all complaining about each other. It seems like victory. It should have belonged to them. People like you must have no blood relationship with me. Chapter 458. It's the Holy Mother's heart again. Because the two of us don't look like each other at all. The Fallenheim saw that the prostitute Taro was speechless by her words. Then he continued to shout at the top of his lungs. You useless thing, obviously the only thing you are good at is fighting, and other than that, it's useless. You have lost this battle now, and you have no value at all. You're just a waste and ugly monster. Bastard, what are you kidding? The prostitute Taro came to his senses. He suddenly roared in anger. Whether today or in the past, if it weren't for my help you would have been dead long ago. I don't know how many times I have saved you. If you want to say trash, you are the real trash. A waste that is weak and has no strengths. I'm still protecting someone like you. I really regret it from the bottom of my heart. If I hadn't had you, my life would have been very different. Yes, that's right, it would be great if it weren't for you. The prostitute Taro seemed to have found the outlet for the ejaculation. In the shock of the fallen girl. Continue to shout loudly. For so many years why do I have to help you with the funeral of Luo Ran? If you weren't born from the beginning, you would have been useless. Just when the prostitute Taro wants to say something even more excessive. His eyes. But he was jogged all the way by Tanjiro Kawaman. Slowly reach out to cover it up. You Leothis is not your truth. You don't think so, they are all lie. At this moment, Tanjiro Sagamon's heart exploded again. He couldn't bear to look at the prostitute Taro and the Duoheim brothers in front of him. Before death. They are still shirking responsibility for each other. And insults. Even if it's a ghost. Tanjiro Kaoru also hopes. The two of them were able to leave the world peacefully. Only. He seemed to have forgotten. Deadly at the hands of two people. Just the pillar, a ghost kill team. There are already dozens of people. And the ordinary civilians who died at their hands. That's even more numerous! Exclamation mark. But the death of these people. For Tanjiro, the Sauvignon, who has a strong heart. It's nothing at all. Because he cares. Only the present. No matter how many humans this ghost killed in the past. As long as there is something that can touch him, the king of money is good. He will feel that the other person is pitiful. And just ignore it. All the other party's previous evil deeds. That's right. This is the view of life of Tanjilang in the Stove Gate. But this has also become the most fundamental reason why Yu hates him. After all, for a powerful empire, the existence of the Virgin Mary is simply a stumbling block. Chapter 459, Repentance Before Death. Get reconciled, enjoy this last time for you too. After covering the prostitute Taro's mouth, Tanjiro. He said to the two of them softly. You are brothers and sisters who depend on each other for their own sake, they are the only support for each other. What you did, although no one will forgive you. So many people you killed will hate and curse what you did. Same, no one in this world will be your companion and protect you. So at least you two, don't curse each other like this. However, the prostitute Taro's words about Tanjiro Kaoru, 600. But I don't appreciate it at all. Although he was covered by the other party. But he was still talking nonsense. Although vague. But it can be guessed that. It must be nothing good. And the fallen girl who has always been stinky. More direct. He cursed at Tanjiro, Kawaman with disgust. You ugly guy is so nagging. Don't preach a stinky little guy, why don't you get aside quickly, get out of here. Then. Duoji saw that she could no longer exist. Then he started to wail with sadness on his face. Ah, I'm so unwilling to accept it. I'm really unwilling to accept it. You should think of a solution quickly, brother. I don't want to die like this in Ijong. But almost as the Duoji cried. Her whole head. It has turned into strands of dust. As the breeze scattered in the air. Plum. The moment when the Tanarora of the sauceman let go of the prostitute, Tailong, was watching. He shouted out his sister's real name loudly. The one he has forgotten for hundreds of years. Ahag, name full of suffering and tragedy. Until this moment. The prostitute Taro suddenly realized. Turn out to be. His sister's name is not Duji. It is called, Plum. Plum Blossoms. But that's right. A bad name like Fulfilmila. How could it be his sister's real name? But that's not entirely true. Because. The name, Plum. Actually, it's very bad. That's because of this name. It was obtained from the name of the disease that killed their mother. Although before that. The prostitute Taro and the Fulheim are defeated. And blame each other. He said many vicious words that hurt each other. Not willing to. Has hatred. Have anger. But when the prostitute Taro saw his sister melting and disappearing. All memories of human age. It instantly surged into his heart. Yes. He remembered successfully. The two brothers and sisters. He was once born on the bottom of a flower street. It is also the most dilapidated house. Chapter 460, The Transformation of Ants. In that kind of ghost place. Children are alive. It costs money. No way. It's a burden. So. Before the two siblings were born. He was almost killed many times. After birth. It is also regarded as a burden and trouble. He was almost killed countless times. But even so. They survived by chance. Even though the two are growing up. No nutritional supply is available. As weak and dry as dead branches and leaves. But they. In the end, I survived and grew up. Bed bugs. Ants. Waste. Coward. A dull coward. Useless stuff. Taro, because of his voice and ugly appearance. And he has been ridiculed. He was thrown into stones because of his dirty body. At a young age. He was subjected to unprecedented abuse and beating. Whole person. It was as dirty as a rat crossing the street. It seems like in this world. All the dirty words. All of them were compiled for him alone. And this is ugly. Dirty. All over mud and grease. Also accompanied by fleas. And the stinky prostitute Taro. When you win food in this flower street where beauty is its full value. He was even more disgusted and deeply hated. He was even regarded as a monster. And the prostitute Taro was hungry. I can only find some mice and insects and ants to eat. His toys. Only the sickle that the guests fell knife. Such a life. It has been with the prostitute Taro for a long time. Until the birth of my sister, Plum. Taro, the prostitute, finally won the first turn of his life. End transformation. My sister May used to be all his pride. Because she has been as beautiful as a fairy since she was a child. Have a beauty and temperament that is enough to look down on adults. And the prostitute Taro. I also gradually discovered it in the long-term suffering and oppression. 0 katakana middle dot 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 katakana middle dot. He is very suitable for fighting. So he started the work of collecting debts. At that time, relying on his own courage and the spirit of not fearing death. It didn't last long. The prostitute Taro became famous on Waji. No matter who it is. I was scared when I saw him. 0. Certainly. I also hate him. And this feeling. It also made the prostitute Taro the first time. Have the good feeling of being proud of your ugly appearance. And have such a beautiful sister. It also directly dispels the sense of inferiority in the prostitute Taro. Both of them are in their hearts. Silently feel. Their future lives. Will continue to develop in a good direction. Will get better and better. Who knows? Good times will not last long. Until the year when, Plum, grew to 13 years old. She uses a hairpin. Poke a rogue warrior in the eyes. It made the other party blind. 2nd. Chapter 461. Do you want to become a ghost? Then. May was retaliated by the other party. Being brutally tied up. Then. It's burnt alive. When the prostitute Taro comes back from work. Seeing the big pit. When the burned sister. His god. It collapsed again. He still remembers. The words, 020, I shouted at that time. Oh no, 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 don't take it away from me. Close black lens bracket. Even though I hadn't given me anything, why did I take my sister away from me? It's unforgivable, it's simply unforgivable. Close black lens bracket. Hurry up and turn my sister back to its original state, otherwise I will kill everything, no matter whether it is God or Buddha. I will destroy everything in this world. Close black lens bracket. However, even the prostitute Taro himself. He couldn't escape the samurai's plan. Under the conspiracy of the Madame on Waji. When the warrior was distraught. Behind him. It gave a fatal blow to Taro. Only. But the prostitute Taro relies on his tenacious will. And the infinite anger in my heart. Finally, they successfully killed the two. Facing death. Taro, whore is not afraid. Neither afraid. Instead, use the last little strength in your body. Pick up my sister's charcoal-like body. Purposeless. Walking forward on the street. He knows. No one will come to save them. After all, this is the reality. This has been the daily routine of their brother and sister since childhood. No matter when and where. No one will ever come to help them. This world. It seems to start from their birth. It's so cruel. I don't know when the sky starts. It started to snow heavily. And the prostitute Taro finally felt powerless. He fell heavily to the ground. Die. It is finally coming to the siblings. But when everything is about to end. A jokey voice. But suddenly, not far away. It reached the ears of prostitute Taro 0. What's wrong? It's so pitiful. At this time, it was still the child's grin of winding land. Just finished his meal. He even held the remains of a girl in his hand. The prostitute Taro, who was gradually moving from afar, was about to die. I can't stand it up. Two poor and weak guys whose life entered the countdown. On his face. He actually showed a playful smile. He said with interest. Hey, I heard what you said just now. I'm very gentle, I won't turn a blind eye to you brothers and sisters. 1.6 The burnt girlie's going to die soon. Do you want me to give you blood? You two all are separated. As long as you can be chosen by that adult, you can become ghosts. Life is a very precious thing, swa must be cherished. For more novels 7567 join. More novels 42129 join.